Hello and welcome to assignment 19.2, where I'll be discussing different skills for bouldering and sailing, and then presenting a SWOT analysis of each, followed by a development plan for each sport. So, bouldering. One of the skills when bouldering is using your toes to get onto the rocks. This meant using only the end part of your shoes, so where your toes are, to balance yourself on the rocks. This enables you to climb onto smaller rocks as your feet are taking up a smaller area on the rocks. It also allows you to be able to swap feet on the rocks, as again your feet are only taking up a small portion of the rock. I was okay at performing this skill, but it took me a couple of tries to get used to it, as it's quite an unnatural and also painful when you have a lot of your body weight on the end of your toes. But after a while, I did get a bit more used to doing it, and it does make it a lot easier when climbing, as it is harder to push yourself up with your legs if you're flat-footed with your feet sideways on the rocks. I'd say that if I practiced a bit more, then it could be a strength, but I was still finding it hard at the end despite improving, so I would say it would be a weakness of mine. Another skill is hand-eye coordination. Now, this refers to the ability to do activities that require the use of hands and eyes at the same time, like an activity that uses the information our eyes perceive, visual spatial perception, to guide our hands to carry out a movement. It is quite hard to measure this when climbing, as it is something you don't really think about as you're constantly doing it, but sometimes I did notice myself doing it. It was looking down at my feet to see where I could put my feet to climb higher, and the same with my hands. I would look around to see where there were spaces for me to put my hands. I would class this as a strength of mine, as when I was on the walls, I would always be looking at my feet and the rocks that were around them that I would be able to put them on the upper body strength. This is the strength that you have in your upper body, meaning your chest and shoulders. And in climbing, this is obviously going to help you to pull yourself up in situations that would be similar to performing a pull up. I don't have particularly good upper body strength, so I found this hard to do in some climbs that require a lot of upper body strength. But where I could, I would just use my legs. So instead of pulling myself up, I would push myself up with my legs. Flagging. This is a skill where you keep one of the legs stretched out to the side of the wall before you climb to prevent yourself from swinging around to stabilize yourself on the wall. It is easy to switch which leg you do it with, and the leg you're climbing with can easily adjust your body to do this on either side of the wall to help you climb on particular rocks. This again was a skill that I didn't really notice myself doing much. However, this may be because we didn't actually get taught this skill before we went climbing, and also a lot of the walls I was climbing weren't hard, so you weren't required to perform a skill like this to help yourself climb. Agility. Being agile basically means that you perform skills quickly, smoothly, and easily. In climbing, this means can you push yourself up and use your hands to grab the rocks smoothly and easily. When climbing, though, to be agile, you need to be quite reliant on knowing what rocks are around you and waiting to start climbing till you know where they are, so you have a rough idea of how you'll get up the wall and where you need to position your body to get your feet and hands onto the particular rocks. I found when I was climbing that it helped me to get up the wall quicker if I did scan the wall and look at where the rocks were to get my body in the correct position. However, I do not find it However, I do find it fairly hard to be agile because of my size, but I think because I have longer legs, it sometimes makes it easier to get up the wall quicker, as I can reach my legs higher and push myself as opposed to pulling myself with my arms. Balance. In climbing, this will refer to how well you're able to stabilize yourself on the walls. If you maybe only have one foot on one of the rocks, as you are looking for somewhere to put your other foot on. Or you might be in the same situation, but you are switching your feet round to change which foot is on a rock. You will need to have good balance to stop yourself from falling off the wall before you are able to find another rock to put your other foot on. I did find that I was frequently in this situation, and I did it quite well, as I would often get up the wall and not know where to put one of my hands or feet, and on some walls in particular, where the rocks are very small, you could not fit both feet on the same rock, so I would need to hang for a bit and rely on balance. I thought this was a strength of mine, as I felt that I was well balanced on the wall at all times. Slapping on steep walls. This is a term in rock climbing that means using momentum to help thrust yourself up the wall. Again, I didn't notice myself doing this that often, as there were not many climbs that required you to thrust yourself up the wall. But there was one particular wall that required me to do this, and I felt I did it well, as I had to keep my body very close to the wall and push up with one leg so I could get my left hand onto another rock to help stabilize myself. Although I didn't do this often, I would class this as a strength, as the one time I did need to do it, I did it well. I'd say all in all, one of my strengths I noticed was the strength of my leg, which helps me make up for where I clearly lacked in upper body strength. So having the strength in my legs allowed me to push myself up the walls as opposed to pulling myself with my arms. My biggest weakness, however, is that I noticed when climbing was probably the fact that I haven't got great upper body strength, and climbing is very much reliant on having good upper body strength to yourself to help you pull yourself up walls when you're in situations or position where you cannot use your legs to push yourself up. I would also say that one of my weaknesses is my knowledge of particular climbing techniques, as sometimes it's made it easier to get up walls when I was in tricky situations. Another weakness was that I wasn't very good at looking at what was around me when on the walls to see where I could climb to next, and because I wasn't good at holding onto the walls for a long time, it meant I kept falling off. I have to keep climbing off to then have a look at the wall to see where I could climb up. If you enjoy bouldering and wish to get better, there are lots of different opportunities allowing you to practice and further develop your ability as a climber. At Brighton, there are various different opportunities to get better for different abilities and ages. At Boulder Brighton, you can take part in group or one-to-one sessions. These coaching sessions are a great way for novice climbers to get a better understanding of some of the techniques that will make it easier to climb particular walls. Boulder Brighton also have lots of useful payment methods available for climbers, as you can pay £369 for a 12-month membership, allowing you to go as much as you want. If you know you will go off, this is very useful. You can also buy packs of 10 or 5 that can be used over 12 months that are useful, as each climb still works out cheaper than a one-off climb. So are good for people with regular other commitments but know at some point they will find time to go climbing. There will be things that get in the way of being able to practice climbing though, and will stop you from being able to regularly practice. The main thing threatening your ability to climb often will be time. This is a huge factor that will stop a lot of people from going, as they might have other big commitments like college or work, meaning that they will have to prioritise them over climbing. People who are older may also have commitments like a family, so if they have young children, they will need to look after them, so can't just go climbing when they want, as they may have to book some free time and get a babysitter. This is then also creating another problem of cost, as you'll be paying for not only the climbing, but also the babysitter. Skills I'm looking to improve when bouldering are going to be agility, flexibility, grip, and flagging, as these were the areas that I noticed most that I wasn't performing well or couldn't complete at all. My development plan. I have identified 4 different skills that I wish to improve. During my development plan, I'm going to have 3 sessions a week with a mixture of gym sessions and one-to-one climbing, focusing on specific climbing skills. The plan is going to last for 6 weeks. The first 2 weeks involves one-to-one coaching sessions to improve some of my basic climbing skills. So I will start on some of the easier coloured walls and then gradually get harder. So when I am on the harder walls, I should be able to start to notice what areas are my weakest points that are stopping me from being able to climb the harder colours. During my first week, in addition to the one-to-one coaching, I will also be doing gym sessions dedicated to developmental stretches to improve my flexibility in my legs and lower back, so my legs can reach further across the walls. I'm also going to include a gym session to improve my core strength and upper body strength. I'll be aiming to improve the muscular endurance of both of these areas, meaning that I will do higher reps on a lower weight. To improve my upper body strength, I'll be doing exercises such as pull-ups, shoulder press, bench press to improve my core strength. I will also be doing sit-ups, cable crunches, and Russian twists. In the second week, I'll be improving the strength in my forearms, as well as using various different hand exercises for enhancement of my finger strength. Into the third week, I'll have another one-to-one climbing session. However, this time it will be focusing specifically on flagging and grip strength, meaning I'll be climbing walls. That means flagging is essential in order to be able to scale the walls and get from one rock to another. I will also be climbing walls with smaller rocks, or where the rocks are not shaped, so it's easy to grip them. This means that my hand and grip strength will be being tested in a realistic situation, as they will be being put under strain whilst I am climbing. In the third week, I will also have another upper body focused gym session where I'll be doing the same exercises as the past session. I will also have a session based on PNF stretching. PNF stretching is a type of developmental stretching, so enhancing my ability to perform these stretches will prove to be useful for improving my flexibility when climbing. In the fourth week, I will have another one-to-one coaching session. This time, however, I'll be climbing walls that require a lot of upper body strength to allow me to climb them. So the walls are likely to have grip that are more spaced apart, meaning that I really have to reach to hold on to them, pull myself up them to get feet onto the grips to allow myself to get into a position comfortable enough to keep climbing. In the fifth week, I've then decided that I'll have an open session, as one-to-one sessions are a lot more expensive and I cannot afford to keep paying for one-to-ones. So I've decided it would be better to just go on my own and practice. I can then get feedback from an instructor when I go in for a one-to-one another time. I am then going to have another core strength and agility session, and hopefully by now I'll be starting to notice a difference in my ability to use my core strength to help me hold onto the walls and my agility to get up the walls when there are rocks that are not as easy to get up. To end the week, I will have a grip-based session from home, so we'll spend around 15 minutes using different types of hand and finger strength balls and exercises to help improve my hand strength, to make it easier to hold onto the walls where the grips are small or just not easy to grip. In my last week, I'll have another one-to-one session where I'll be able to discuss with my instructor which skill I've got better at most and where I still have room for improvement and need to work on more. In the final week, I will also have more gym sessions based on upper body, grip and core strength training to hopefully improve my climbing in general.